We're just somehow back. I've been uploading a lot and I'm almost up to 2K subscribers. I fuck with y'all for giving me that energy. I did not think y'all fuck with me like that. Did not think y'all was fucking with me like that. Which, I guess, if you've seen my channel before or whatever, well, anyway, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my channel, guys. I want to have a quick conversation with you and I want to talk to you about cycles. A streamer by the name of I'm Really Important once said that withholding our votes for Joe Biden in this Democratic cycle because we don't like what he's doing with Gaza is stupid and it's not like the Gazans don't deserve it, blah, blah, blah. But there was one sentence that he said that stuck extremely out in my head. And he said that we'll forget about Gaza by the next week once it's out of the news cycle. And it got me to thinking about like how fast, like World War II wasn't fast, but like for the people who probably never experienced any warfare, that shit probably happened very fast. And it got me somewhere. It got me to a place that I didn't like when I heard that. Because it reminds me of like every time I'm looking at any other piece of content within the sphere of what I do, when it comes to these hard conversations, I feel like we approach a cycle. And I want to talk to you about that cycle because it's nauseating to a degree. There's only but so many times you can talk about a certain thing in one direction and then talk about another thing in another direction. And there's only so many times that you can drill down this point. And I don't know who to model myself as in this YouTube community because I don't know if my commentary hits the marks of what I think most people expect from commentary, especially when it's like just real life sitting down, smoking, chatting, and talking type shit. I know that I have in the past spoken very fast, and I know that it might be hard to follow a thought, and maybe I could edit things and have a more monotone style, and we could go all into the things that make up the framework of me. But when I compare myself to people out here and I see the way that they discuss shit, there's certain lines that stick out to me. And I think about like World War II and how, like, after the V-Day was declared, like, what did people do the next day? I feel like history is looked at as points and times and never like the week before. Like, was the week before mad chill? Like, what was the consensus on the streets? We always ask people, how was it like during the war? How was it like on that random Tuesday in 1954? What about that person that was pictured in a video, a slow camera video of the Summer of Love? How come all the pictures that be in my history books about the civil rights movement always be in black and white? They had color cameras. They had TV. Like, yeah, TV. Well, but the TV was black and white. How old do you think the honeymooners is? What was going on that made, like, what I'm trying to get at is the cycle seems to be against two sides of the human body. Now, I'm going to throw out two names here. I'm throwing out two names here. If they ever react to this, if somehow in some form or fashion, somebody sends this to them and says that I'm talking shit about them, I swear to God, I'm going to find you. What gets me is that the two sides of the cycle seem to be the empty hollowness between Hassan Piker and like Oh, I was gonna say Ben Shapiro, but like the comparison wouldn't work because I'd have to explain that in my head. Let's just say streamers versus like people who make a living grifting. There we go. Here we go. I was gonna say Candace Owens. I thought about that in my head. On one hand, I have Hassan Piker sitting on the side of my brain right now. And while I may not know as much as him, I know that there are many areas in which I know way more than him. I've always wanted to find a way to just have a network of viable, touchable people that you could always go to, which is the whole point of the paradigm shift. That's the theme of the entirety of this show from season 1 to season 8. A network of just, I don't have to tap on like what I don't know and infuse it with what I do know. He's sitting on the side of my head while being very kind, very generous, very, I think I view Hassan more as a human being than like a target, but that might be because I also stream. So in my empathetic state of mind frame, whenever I talk about anybody else, I can see a little bit behind the door of the performance value of the person on screen. And that's just because I worked with a lot of on screen talent. Being controlled by, at odds, 35 to 70,000 people per day. Yo, watch this, yo, watch this, yo, watch this, yo, this. And when you think about the streamline of that process, and the fact that at least I believe, I can be wrong about this, outside of what videos are sent or outside of what topics are obviously out there, Hassan doesn't plan his streams. So you end up in this mix of like free falling as well as like he'll cradle you a little. On the other side, I have the Candace Owens, the one that denies reality, but also produces content and also has a style and also has a thing. So as I'm looking at this cycle of just pretty much the opposites attracting, I ask myself, why would someone hinge their entire career on like not calling what's happening in Gaza a genocide? Now, really link everything I've just talked about, and it probably makes a lot more sense now. If you got to go back in the video, because now you got to listen to everything again now that you've gotten like the thesis, sure, whatever. But for those of you who have been following along, yeah, like why would you do that? Why would you say something like that? Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave? And I've realized something. Until other people gain clout that have something else to talk about, we are always going to be segmented within these cycles until the next time Hassan Piker and Kai Cenat ever talk. Them no communities come together, and you're going to get a lot of people who are Kai Cenat brain. You're going to get a lot of people who are Hassan brain, but you're never going to get a definitive outward voice in that entire sea of noise, because the two people having the conversation, the two sides, are the voices. You starting to get where I'm going with this? The pinball is the ball is in the machine, but there is no bottom. There is no way to get past the flickers. The conversation is only defined by the two sides. There is no ever, they don't get their information elsewhere. They don't start conversations. They enhance conversations, which is fine. That's the problem, is nobody's complaining about that part of it. The problem is you can't talk about anything else, because if you're not talking about the thing, you are not doing the thing. You have to carve out your own identity. Very hard to do so when the market share is pretty much owned by a select group of people. Cycles. There's only so many times I can bring this up. There's only so many times I could read a tweet, see a video, and be like, that's not real at all. Like, you're just lying. Like, I don't even know I wouldn't even describe what you're fibbing. You are bullshitting. You are telling half-truths. You are full of crap, dog. Like, I don't even know how to get to that point I don't even know how to get to that point in my life. Dealing with Pearl Davis, at some point you're gonna have to debate them. You're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to run into this person. Like, I guess meeting RDC World would be cool, but like, I'm not a skit maker. I have great ideas. I've executed skits, and I obviously plan this show out for 5 to 7 hours a day. So if I could do that for 3 years straight, pretty sure I can run a show. But cycles. And what led me all the way here was when IRI said, we'll forget about Gaza within a week. And I'm kind of like, that's not fair either, because you won't be talking about it. That's not kind of fair, because we got something to focus on, which is seeing whether or not full-fledged American fascism and Project 2025, like, there's shit happening at the same time. Are we that powerless that you think that all we care about are clout points with this? And it's like, damn, then, bro, that means my friend's life is only worth clout points to you, because you probably don't know that about me. So when I skip that and say, hey, you're saying something fucked up, you lump me in with the others, and then my entire worldview becomes, wait, no, this is a cycle. I have to talk about him because that's the interaction I had. There's no Pokimane calls Globus the Elder for ideas on AI for real quick. Yo, 5 minutes. I just saw this cool ass AI thing, but I know you know way more than that. Can you pull up something for me and be like, yo, call me back in 10 minutes? Globus don't want the clout. Nobody else give a fuck about AI as much as them. That's my AI guy. That's my AI guy. That's my what paint guy. That's my good. I brought up her name on stream so many times, it's almost nauseating. Carrie Academia in an entire box. And even I know that person has had to bleed their strings within because that's how you network and communicate with people. So I have to change my approach and be like, whoa, I'm not one of those guys. Whoa, I'm not one of those guys. I actually have studied, I have degrees in art. It's my specialty. I paint, I take pictures, I have to define myself. See? Just like the end of this video, a cycle. I started by saying, what happened in World War II in the day by day? How did people define themselves while they knew something terrible was going on there? Oh, but paradigm, they didn't know. Cycles. Because we know in hindsight, and now we have video footage of it, and yet we're having the same conversation. Are we going to forget about it in a week? Cycles. Engaging and creating content is either carving your own lane or having no choice but to fall into that point. Because eventually, at the stroke of midnight, you will say someone's name and they will appear. Now, it would really suck if this video cut off in